Yeah, Alyssa, I want to ask you about one of your teammates to start off with, Riley Boone. What to you, when somebody brings up Riley, what's the first thing that each of you think about?
To me first.
Party starter.
Yeah.
She gets the thing going, and her energy just carries on and off the field, and it really gets everybody going.
She's infectious. Like, when you see her, like, doing her little, like, thingy, I mean, you know it's on. And just like Ella said, she's just got that three-tool type of play to where she can lay down a bunt and just fire you up, or she gets a base hit gap shot. Like, she does it all. So she's so fun to play with. And I don't know, I know Ella's only probably had a year, so it's like she's probably watched a lot of how she's played, but playing alongside Boone and just like living with her too has been really cool. Just because she's one of a kind, you know, she's crazy, fun to be around, super funny, and then you see that personality come out on the field too. So
You bring up the bunts. Just what to you is the most impressive thing about that and her ability to pretty consistently lay those down or leg out infield hits and that piece of her game?
I mean, I face her as a defense, like a third baseman every day, it feels like, and it is just, it's a constant challenge. Like, for me, it makes me better, and I know just facing her, how difficult it is, knowing, like, she could drop a ball in a perfect spot and I have to get rid of it quick. Like, I can only imagine how other teams feel, but I've definitely been in their shoes a lot. But, I mean, it's just a really big key because you bring infields in like that and then she spreads them out and creates holes. But then she could also slap the ball and soft slap right in front of you and then lay down a bunt the next at bat. I mean, having those types of tools, especially in a lineup like what we have where we're kind of known more for power and hitting the gap, I think you need those types of hitters to create that versatility. So
Appreciate it.
Ryan Chapman and then Jenny.
Alyssa, you guys played Florida State 3 times last year. What stood out? What do you remember from those with a ton of familiar faces? And then Ella, what do you remember from watching the Champ Series? Not with the squad, but
yeah. So I mean, they're a great team. They're well coached. They've all really, they come under the umbrella of like OU softball as well. Because I think Lonnie Alameda has played for Coach, so she's so experienced, not just in that department, but like as just a well-coached staff and just a team. They've been in those situations like the World Series for countless years. They've won a national championship themselves, so it's just one of those things where, when you play them, you're getting their best, and they're pretty mirrored images to us in the way of like their power and their versatility, the way their defense really tries to work hard to be perfect, and it's a very similar mindset. So I think in the past for us, we've really gone accustomed to being well prepared for them just because they're such a great team. They're well coached, and they always challenge us and make us better, just like we probably do the same for them. So
It was a dogfight. I saw Sooner softball being played. Just really exciting to watch it because just knowing that the next year I was going to be able to be a part of that. Really fun. Really, really talented teams both sides, and that it was a really good matchup.
were you just watching at home?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Alyssa, I know there's a lot of softball yet to be played, so I don't ask this thinking that it's over, but the senior class, this will at least be the last weekend you play here in Norman. I'm wondering if you could just give us a little insight on, this big senior class. There were so many expectations on you guys, and this season has had some mountaintops and some valleys. What do you feel like the senior class as a collective and as individuals has done to get you guys back to this point where you are playing great softball at this point in the year?
Yeah, I think when you look at kind of what we've done collectively, it was kind of no secret that this year would be hard. I think that's kind of something that I've had to sit with, was like, with what we're trying to do and what we've created here, why would it be easy? And I mean, the teams every year get better and better, just like we're having to improve year to year. So I think in those valleys, like, it was hard where you're like, okay, God, what's the plan here? But I think, I guess I was just more excited to see how the Lord was working through all of it. And he did a mighty work in just some things that really brought us together as a team that really weren't even softball related. And then when you go through some of those failures and you're trying to piece the puzzle together and kind of get the answers to those questions, I think when we really just stepped back for a second and thought about the fact that, like, we get to only play together for a couple weeks, I think that kind of shifted our perspective and was like, I don't get to play with Tiari Jennings and Kinsey Hansen and Riley Boone for all my life. And, like, I need to take advantage of the time that I have. And I think seeing the freshmen, too, I'm like, man, like, I hope that they can learn something from us. So it was tough. I think, like, you guys have seen it. We've had to work through a lot, and there was a lot of maybe some times where we were, like, trying to figure out, too, what this year would look like and what is our identity as this team. But I think at the end of the day, it really was coming back to what our purpose was. And for a lot of us, that's Jesus, and that's serving the Lord and glorifying him in our play. And when we looked at the results, it was hard to handle. But then you kind of had to step back and be like, well, we say these things, we have to stay true to that and understand, like, it doesn't define us, and just delight in where he has us. And then I think just collectively, for even those that aren't on that same page, and that's totally okay, it's just the fact that, like, we get to play together, and we gotta really kind of sit in that and enjoy it and be full of, like, gratitude. Because, like, I mean, I played with Ella when she was, like, feels like when she was, like, 10. I mean, she's finally to college, and I'm like, dang, it's been a minute. Like, and I feel old, but it's like, I gotta be grateful for the fact that I finally get to see these people getting to their dreams, and then, like, our lives getting to this point and how much God's worked through it, and then now seeing where he's going to take it. So I think kind of just those moments in the highs and the lows is what really we have kind of honed in on, and it's helped a lot with just seeing how God's going to continue to write it. So
I don't want to act like I'm digging, but you mentioned things that you felt along the way might have been milestones for this team that maybe weren't even on the field things. Is there anything in particular that springs to mind that maybe people watching you wouldn't know happened to this team but are important along the way?
No, I mean, I think Coach has hit it on the head a couple times. Just, like, living in this space is hard, and I think that's something that maybe isn't talked about a lot, and, like, we kind of go through day by day not really thinking about the fact that we've been at this position for so long. And I think for anyone, it can get tough, and you can kind of get to that point where you're, like, having to really have good conversations together, because at the end of the day, living in that space is hard, like she talks about. So there wasn't really anything in particular, but I think there was, getting to that point now with knowing the goal that's in mind, we kind of had to step back and understand, like, okay, it's hard. Like, it's going to be hard, and those are conversations that maybe not a lot of people and teams have, and that's okay. But for us, we had to really get into that and understand, like, how are we going to handle living in this space? And moving forward, what are we going to do side by side? So,
Ella, what was your first experience like in regionals, and how do you think it prepares you for this weekend?
It was a lot to take in. I think just like it felt like a different atmosphere, and it's something I've never felt before. So it was kind of not shocking, but just like a different type of feeling I've never felt before. But once, like, we all settled in and the game settled in, it was like I was just back at home and really comfortable. Yeah. Yeah.
Think it'll be like that this weekend?
I think it'll be pretty much the same type of feeling, and just, like, I'll be able to find comfort once everything, like, settles in.
Bob and then Colton.
Ella, you moved up and down the lineup to begin the season. Now you're pretty locked in at that number 2 spot. You've always mentioned freedom. How much of that freedom is because you know TRA is coming right after you?
This whole lineup is just so talented, and I think just being able to, like you said, play free has been really like what made this whole thing like kind of like stress-free, I guess. But just like what's really been driving me is just knowing that I just need to pass the bat to the next person and we'll get the ball rolling.
And then Alyssa, it feels like ever since that 6th inning in Bedlam on Sunday, this team has been different. Do you feel that way? Was there something said after that game where you've noticed that difference?
Yeah, I think that weekend and that Sunday in particular was a day of celebration. And I think when we kind of were like, okay, this is like the last hurrah for the 10 seniors in this class. And it was just kind of looked at in a day of being joyful and just really being present in that moment. We kind of shifted that energy into the next weekend, knowing like postseason, every weekend could be your last. Like nothing's guaranteed. The game doesn't know who's supposed to win. And I think now we've kind of carried that mentality of survival mode, but like being present in this space, and kind of just taking advantage of all the opportunities we have to be on the field next to one another and just whatever is in store for us in this team. So I think definitely Bedlam was a time where, yes, there was a lot of failure if you look at it from surface, but at the end of the day, it was a chance for us to really get back to why we do it, and that's to have fun, get back to your purpose, and like celebrate one another and the time that we have together, because that time's coming to an end. It's going to end at one point for some of us as seniors, and I think so we've kind of just carried that mentality, and it's really worked and allowed people to just have fun and enjoy the moments that we have in front of us.
So you mentioned you played with Ella when she was 10. What's it been like watching her improve across this season?
Gosh, I mean, I've always knew that Ella had it in her. Like, I think just where we've come from and seeing how much she's grown over the years, it's really been kind of, for me and TRA, just like big sister moments. And we don't really say it often to her because it's just kind of like growing up in that area and that space. You kind of, it's what you're supposed to do. It's like an expectation that you have for yourself and for one another. But I think it's been just really awesome, again, just to see her finally getting to college here at OU, and just like the fact that she landed here and that we're getting to spend our senior year together with her is really cool. And it just kind of brings back those Batbuster memories when she was on our team and then on the younger team. Like, it's just really full circle for us. And I think this is just a small glimpse into how great she can be, and she knows that as well. But she works hard, and it's just a testament to who she is and what she's done all these years. And it's finally kind of that dream coming to fruition for her. And I think it's the start for it all, and we kind of got to be at the beginning of it, but I can't wait till when I'm an alum and I get to watch her on TV just killing it. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Of course.
Hey, Alyssa, I had one other thing I wanted to ask you. You guys a couple years ago started the prayer circle and bringing the other team to the pitcher circle after the game. And I don't think I missed this before, but it appears in watching other games that that's a trend that's happening around the country. Is that something that you guys have noticed, and what do you make of that spreading?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Lord's work. I think it's cool to see how sports kind of glorifies God, and it's always in high demand, and sports is kind of something that everyone can come to love, and I think it's been really cool to just see other teams being really excited to come in the circle with us. I mean, whether that's even after a loss for both teams, just to see us come together for a common good. I think whether you, believe in it or not, it's just the fact of communion and just being together in that fellowship and being arm in arm, even if you were just like battling against one another. It's just together that kind of shows the message of community, and to see other teams kind of having that as well really goes to show like God's working continuously through sports, not just softball, but like we see it so much in softball. And I'm really excited to see how it continues. And I know, like, seeing pictures from Sunday when we had, like, some of the coaches get together, and then, you know, we've had so many connections and ties with the Oregon program, and just, like, getting to pray with some of my former teammates. Like, that's kind of why we do what we do, because at the end of the day, it's just a game. We're literally throwing around a yellow ball. But it's really cool to see the friendships and the ways that you can come together with people you really know a lot or you don't know at all, and just come together and pray together. So,
Last one for Tark.
Alyssa, can you just talk about preparing for this weekend? Obviously, just one opponent that you're going to face a couple times. How does that change things? Is that something that's important to you guys, or is it more about what you guys are doing?
yeah, like I said earlier, like, Florida State's a great team. They're well coached. We know we're always going to get their best. And, I mean, like I said, is postseason's never guaranteed. Like, who gets to move on is never guaranteed. So I think you need to battle and survive in this type of play, especially the way that softball nowadays is just so competitive and just the mayhem that you've seen. So I think it's important to prepare well. And we know that they're definitely doing their homework as well. Like, they're so well coached that that's the only thing you would really expect. So for us, we know that we kind of have to take these 2 days, and it's a quick turnaround, but we have to take the 2 days and really take advantage of them, and really just kind of get those certain areas that we need to really get into and nitpick at and just get better and better so that we're well prepared. And then at the end of the day, we can trust our preparation when it comes to Thursday and just play and have fun and go.
Thanks, ladies. Thanks.